And welcome to the University of Dundee Master of Education webinar. My name is Helen Spiropoulos. I'm the Admissions Manager at Stafford Global. And joining me this evening all the way from the UK is Dr. Marie. Good evening to you, Dr. Marie.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here tonight.
Good. It's lovely to see you again, and I'm looking here on my right-hand side, and I can see quite a few people that have joined us as far afield as Egypt and Bahrain. So it's great to actually have you with us this evening. How are we going to conduct the webinar this evening? Is I'm just going to briefly introduce you to Stafford, what our function is, and then I'm going to hand you over to Dr. Marie, who's going to take you through the program and explain how the program works. And right at the end of the webinar, you will have the chance to type out any questions that you'd like to ask Dr. Marie or myself. Dr. Marie normally will answer questions related to the academics of the program. And if you want anything regarding admissions, I can actually assist you with those type of questions. Your questions will be screened, meaning that a lot of them are identical. So I am going to group them together. So please do listen out for your question as well as that answer. Okay, let's get started. Now, who is Stafford Global? Now, the mere fact that you are with us this evening means that you have been in touch with one of our experienced academic consultants. Now, Stafford was established in 1993, and we are a resource center for distance learning education in the Middle East, and this particular program as well as in Africa. Now, we are currently the resource center for 5 UK universities, obviously one of which is the University of Dundee. Now, we do offer a variety of programs ranging from certificates to diplomas, bachelors, MBAs, right through until doctorates. So we really do have any type of qualification that would suit your personal as well as your professional needs. Now, our function here at Stafford is to assist students throughout their application process, and we do also offer some administrative support. So as I've said, you have been in touch with one of our experienced academic consultants, and they are the ones that are going to get you through the admissions process and get that very important unconditional offer for you. Okay, I'm now going to hand you over to Marie, and I'll join you again towards the end of the presentation. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Helen, for that introduction. Okay, welcome to the University of Dundee and the Master of Education programme. My name, as Helen has already said, is Dr. Marie Beresford-Dey, and I'm a lecturer in education, primarily educational leadership at the university, and I'm also the academic lead for any students undertaking their studies via Stafford Associates. So welcome to tonight's webinar. What I'm going to do first of all is just to give you a brief overview of the university and introduce you to the university before moving on to what it means to be an MEd student, Master of Education student, before giving you programme specific information. So the University of Dundee, who are we? Well, we make a difference here and now in the real world. And we encourage a cross-disciplinary exchange of thoughts, ideas and innovation through a variety of teaching methods and perspectives. We've worked to foster a partnership approach between students and staff and like to build a sense of community, actively seeking ways of working together across boundaries, including disciplinary boundaries, such as our school being education and social work, so therefore we have the two disciplines coming together. We encourage and support students to be transformative through questioning and perhaps changing your practice, as well as those who you're working alongside. We make time to listen to and help and support you throughout, and recognise and respect differences, actively promoting inclusion, nurturing creativity and innovation, And as a modern university, we focus our efforts on the three key themes of improving social, cultural and physical well-being to develop innovative solutions to those 21st century problems. So why Dundee? And as you can see from the listings there, we're frequently placed highly in the university's rankings, which we are very proud of. We have substantial global reputation with students from over 150 countries around the world. In addition, no matter where you are in the studying from in the world, we promote a real sense of community, and we do feel it's this that sets us apart. So at Dundee, we can offer you a learning experience with one of the world's top universities. And during the course of your studies, we will offer you excellent teaching, learning, support, and of course, those study resources. So an overview about the EMET. What is the EMET? It is a professional development programme that's undertaken at level 11 on the Scottish Qualifications framework, so that's at master's level. And although the EMET is recognised by the General Teaching Council, the GTCS in Scotland, it's not a teaching qualification. As different national governments have different prerequisites for teaching, you are advised to check with the relevant government or registering body for their requirements. Okay, so we treat all students equally. So even though you'll be studying at a distance, you still have access to student support, no matter where you are. We offer opportunity for you to study either part-time or fast-track, and this offers you that flexibility and autonomy. It's a blended learning approach, so we will offer you some face-to-face in-country workshops where travel permissions allow us. Unfortunately, that's not happening at the moment, but as soon as it does, then we will be returning to those local workshops. But in addition to that, we of course have the online system, so we have teaching in a similar way to the way that this has been delivered to you just now, as well as the asynchronous teaching. It's a practice-based professional development learning qualification, so it's going to enhance your professional qualifications that you already have. It is recognised by the International Baccalaureate, and I'll speak more about the IB shortly. And we have students from all sectors of education, from early years through to higher, from within schools or private organisations. And as I say, we are worldwide. This is an internationally recognised postgraduate qualification with education at its focus, and we do offer a variety of different routes and foci throughout, which I'm going to give you some information on this evening. There are several benefits of undertaking a master's degree. So why study at master's level? Well, it extends your knowledge, it deepens and broadens your knowledge through asking questions, seeking answers and exploring the landscape from the different perspectives, which then changes the way in which you perceive the world. Through this, you'll develop a more inquiring, reflective, critical and innovative approach to your practice, and as I say, those around you as well. And through undertaking that EMET, you will demonstrate your mastery of education, which of course then can be honed further to specialise in an educational area. It enables you to develop transferable skills such as criticality, communication, use of technology, and of course organisational skills. Study at master's level also enables you to improve your career prospects, which often leads to higher incomes, as this also includes professional progression into leadership and management roles. Also, you might want to undertake doctoral study if you obtain the full EMET. Some countries consider teaching a master's level profession, so therefore obtaining an EMET enables you to meet those professional requirements within these countries. So I study an EMET at the University of Dundee. Well, as I say, it's a programme of study that brings together the theory and the practice, and it encourages you to draw on your experiences and align them with the literature, the research and the scholarship that is available to us. It enables you, as I say, to question why we do certain things and whether there are alternative ways to do those things where practice can be enhanced. It encourages you to strengthen your knowledge about global educational developments through offering an opportunity to critically explore different perspectives of education, all of which help to develop or extend your confidence and enhance, say, your professional career. And as tutors, we are continuously seeing our students' practice being influenced by their learning at master's level. This inevitably benefits the students as yourself, your students, and staff who you are working with. Okay, so a little bit about the Master of Education programme. To obtain an EMET, you will need to complete 180 credits of study in any of the named awards that you see on the screen there. From leading, learning and teaching, educational leadership, international education, and so on. The award of leading, learning and teaching, highlighted in bold, is our generic award, which provides you with subject flexibility. However, if you do require a subject specialism, you can see that we have a number of options available to you. We also have a new pathway, the Master of Education in TESOL, which we're excited to introduce to you. Okay, just moving on from that into a little bit more detail around the modules that are available to you. So we have a range of optional modules, and these are linked into the named awards. And I'll work through a few examples with you so you can obtain an understanding of how these work. Each of the optional modules enable you to carry out the study and assignment without being in a workplace environment, as long as you have relevant teaching experience to draw from. Each optional module is considered as a single credit module and are worth 30 credits. In addition, we have 3 core modules, reflecting upon practice and research methods, both of which are also worth 30 credits. And we have the double credit dissertation, which is, as I say, 60 credits there. So to demonstrate how the named awards and modules link, you can see that the generic Leading, Learning and Teaching Award enables you to undertake any 2 optional modules, along with having the flexibility at dissertation stage. Whereas the named awards, not highlighted in bold, do require you to undertake specific modules, and the dissertation must focus on an area relevant to the named award. So, for example, if you wish to obtain an EMED in educational leadership, then one of your modules must be leadership and organisational development. You have a free choice of the second optional module, but then your dissertation must also focus on educational leadership. Okay, so the International Baccalaureate, for these awards, once you commence your studies at Dundee, you'll need to register directly with the IB, and we'll provide you with guidelines for this process. We also have a dedicated member of staff who will provide you with the IB support. There are no additional requirements for each of the IB awards, but you will be expected to underpin your writing with IB publications. And again, we'll provide you with support for this. You can see there are 3 awards that are available to you. 2 of those are in leadership, and the other one is the Advanced Certificate in Learning and Teaching Research. Now, for the Advanced Certificate in Learning and Teaching Research, you are required to have a minimum of 3 years teaching experience in an IB school. Whereas for the leadership routes through, you don't require this 3 years teaching experience in an IB school, but there are prerequisites for you to undertake specific modules to obtain the certificate in leadership practice before moving on to the Advanced Certificate in Leadership Research. However, if you do have the 3 years teaching experience, then of course there is a second pathway for the Advanced Certificate in Leadership Research, which is available to you. So all of this does depend on the amount of experience that you have or haven't got within an IB school. So again, a couple of examples for you here, just to work through. So starting with the full EMED programme via a typical part-time route, which does include the IB Advanced Teaching and Learning Research. So we're assuming for this that you have the 3 years teaching experience within an IB school. For this, within Year 1, you will undertake the 2 core modules, so one core module of reflecting upon practice plus an optional module. And that will allow you with eligibility to exit with a postgraduate certificate. However, if you do exit at that point, then you wouldn't be eligible for the IB Advanced Teaching and Learning Research Award, which you must obtain the full EMED for. Within Year 2, you would undertake the optional module, the second optional module, plus research methods. And then in Year 3, you will undertake the dissertation. And at that point, you would exit with the EMED, plus have the eligibility for the IB Teaching and Learning Award. Okay, for another example, this time we are going to have a look at the EMED and IB Leadership Award. And again, this is a typical part-time route. So Year 1 here, we're assuming that you don't have any IB teaching experience. So within Year 1, you will undertake the Leadership and Organisational Development module, which is considered as your first optional module. And this then is followed by Reflecting upon Leadership in the IB, which is a core module for the IB route. And then here you would have eligibility to exit with a postgraduate certificate and the IB Leadership Practice Award. However, if you want the advanced IB route, then you would need to go on to complete the full EMED programme. If you do that in Year 2, you would complete the second optional module plus the research methods, and then in Year 3, the dissertation. And at this point, the dissertation must have the IB focus and educational leadership focus as well. But again, these are things that we'll talk to you about throughout the programme. So these stages do equate to a year. So Year 1, where you've got the 2 modules, this is based on a part-time route. Of course, we have the fast-track route as well, so you would double up the learning in there, and that kind of slightly changes the time scale that you would undertake the study. So for the study duration, the key difference here is the amount of work that you carry out in a semester for that fast track route. So you would undertake a total of 60 credits in one semester for the fast track route, as opposed to the 30 credits for the part-time route. The fast track route is a significant undertaking, and I strongly advise that you to consider whether you have space to complete approximately 30 hours of study per week, which is the notional study time for that fast track option. However, if you do decide upon this option but then feel it's too overwhelming, we can transfer you onto the part-time route at the start of a semester. Equally, if you commence the part-time route but perhaps your circumstances change so that you feel that you're able to double up your study, then again we will be able to transfer you at certain points of your study. Okay, optional workshops, although these are identified as Friday the 23rd and Saturday the 24th of October and held locally in the UAE, under the circumstances we're of course unable to travel at the moment to the UAE, and therefore they will be held virtually. Whilst much of the induction periods will take place on those 2 days still, we will be expanding the induction period and offering those workshops at days either side of those as well in the evenings, just so you're not spending two solid days at the computer. So we are making some adjustments for that due to the current pandemic. Workshops are not mandatory, but they are highly recommended, and they are a fantastic opportunity to meet with other students as well as some of the tutors, and it's a space for us to start building that sense of community. So the induction workshops will provide you with an opportunity to gain an understanding of the various mechanisms within the university's online platform, how to access various features such as the library and opportunities for support. It will also enable you to start to develop your understanding of what critical reading, thinking and writing is, which is required at master's level. Feedback from students is always excellent, and students find them very worthwhile and beneficial to moving forward with their studies, as well as I've already mentioned that the importance placed around that to learning as a community. Okay, so entry requirements for all routes: you must have an undergraduate degree. Now that can be in any discipline, but it must be undergraduate degree or equivalent. And if your undergraduate degree was not taught in English, then the English language requirement is an academic IELTS of 6.5 or equivalent. So we have the two different routes through, the workplace-based route and the non-workplace-based route. The difference here is whether you're currently in a workplace or not. If you're not currently in a workplace, then you must have enough experience to draw from and to be able to reflect upon, because this is a substantial part of your studies and the programme. So what do our students say? As I say, similar to the workshops, we do have a lot of positive feedback, high-level feedback from our students that really emphasises the change in students' practice, their understanding of what this means for them, taking their learning to the next level within the classroom, within the school environment, or within whatever educational environment that you work in. And as I say, it does help with if you're seeking promotion within your role, or if you are wishing to undertake further study at doctoral level. Okay, for your tuition fees, please do ask your academic consultant, Stafford Associates, about the tuition fees and the instalment schemes. The application deadline is coming up very soon. You can see the 13th of October. So any of those final applications, we really do need to get those in as soon as possible so we can process them in time for you to start the programme. On that note, I believe that Helen will be joining us to go through some of the questions. So, hello, Helen. Impeccable timing as always.
Thank you. It's a wonderful presentation as usual. I can see there's quite a lot of questions that have come through already, and we've got one from Shafat. Firstly, thank you, Shafat, for the opportunity. As you said, it's wonderful to actually have communicating with us. Shafat's question is, I have been through the modules already presented to me, but it seems to me that the program is for more experienced teachers rather than someone like me who is new in this field. I'm a preschool teacher and I have been working for the past 2 years now, and I am actually more interested in early years and a nursery EMED. Do you think that this program could be for someone like me?
Absolutely, 100%. We have students come to us with a whole range of different experiences, and the beauty about the course is that you'll learn from those more experienced students who you'll be working alongside, as well as us as tutors. But we certainly have students who have just finished their teacher training and literally just gone into employment within a school environment, as well as those students who may have been working in schools or higher education or whichever educational establishment for the last 10, 20, sometimes 30 years. So there's a vast range, but yes, suitable for everybody, as long as you have either previous experience to reflect on or you're currently working, so you can reflect on your current experiences.
Good, okay, and I've noticed that there is a TESOL specialization, which is quite interesting, and I'm really looking forward to that. However, my question is, are there any other specializations that you are thinking of adding?
Not at the moment. We work with the specializations because of the academics that we have, as well as also what the market is suggesting that we need. And when I say market, that's often schools that come to us asking us about certain things, what research shows us, what's the growing areas within education. So there's a lot of areas where we start to develop our special offers of specializations. So at the moment, we do believe that we have the specializations required for today. And working within education for today, but we're always open. But these things don't happen overnight. But if certainly if there's something coming up, then please do speak to us about that. But these things can take a long time to get into to come to fruition.
Absolutely. Okay, and Sandhya's question is very similar to the previous one. I don't have current work at the moment. However, I have worked for the past 1 year and 3 months teaching BTEC students, which is plus 16 in the UK. Am I actually eligible for the program?
If you have the academic requirements, and yes, I don't see that any problems there at all.
Absolutely. Sandhya, do get in touch with your academic consultant, because as Marie has mentioned, if you do have a bachelor degree and you have got a bit of experience already in the field, in the educational field, we'll be able to assist you. So do get in touch with your academic consultant.
Yeah, and I think that's a good advice, you know, because it's really difficult for us to judge here and now what experience people have got. So until we actually see the detail around that experience, it's very difficult for us to make that judgment. And so, yeah, for anybody out there, you know, do get in touch with your consultants and let them have a look at your detail, your CVs, and be able to make those judgments with you.
Absolutely. Marie's quite correct. Detailed CVs is important, detailing exactly your roles and responsibilities undertaken. And if you have done any other qualifications within an educational field, do submit that as well, because that does actually support your application as well. Okay. And Michael's question is, I want to exit on the PGD level. Which RB certificate am I eligible to apply for?
That would be the IB Leadership in Practice certificate. So you would be eligible for that at postgraduate certificate level. There aren't any IB awards between the certificate and the full EMET, and that's an IB decision. So yeah, after that first year of your studies, then you will be eligible for the IB Leadership in Practice, as long as you're taking those two modules that the IB require you to take.
And what is the difference between part-time and full-time route? Does full-time mean that I have to be on the campus?
No, we talk about fast track rather than full time, because it is about speeding up your work. So whether, you know, normally if you've got no credit exemption, you're looking at a 3-year period to obtain the full EMET, and that can be taken down to approximately 20 months on a fast track route. What we are saying to you is that you need to double up the work on the fast track route. So whereas you would normally undertake approximately 15 hours of study time on a part-time route per week, we are suggesting that that's going to be 30 hours of study time on the fast track routes.
Okay, and I'm really interested in 2 of your specializations. My question is, if I complete the one specialization, can I then continue and do modules of the second specialization so that I can have both of them? Oh, okay.
Unfortunately not. I know we're always wanting to expand you know, our knowledge and understanding. There's no reason that you can't do that in terms of the actual knowledge that you're gaining through the modules that you'll be undertaking, but in terms of the final award outcome, then you will only have, I say only because it's such a big thing to get a master's degree, you will have the award in one subject specialisation, or undertake the generic award of leading learning teaching, which, you know, really does suggest a broad understanding across education.
True. Is the IB certificate provided by the university, or do I get this from an external body?
The IB certificate comes from the International Baccalaureate themselves, so we will support you in registering with the IB, and when the time comes for you to once you've completed your award and we've gone through exam bodies for the university, then you will be contacted by the IB, but we'll detail that process for you throughout, but it is the IB that provide that certificate.
Okay, and I can see that I can register for the postgraduate certificate. How many months is that provided that I do pass all the modules successfully?
We are looking at one academic year, so 2 semesters. So the semesters start in November and April. So if you were to start this November, then you will be looking to submit your final assignment in September 2021. And then, of course, we've got the exam boards and things like that. So you'd be looking towards the November graduation, all being well if everything goes smoothly.
Okay, and that brings me on to quite a few questions that have come through with graduation. Under the current circumstances, we are aware that graduations are normally done virtually. What would happen if we cannot attend graduation? Can these be couriered to us, and how long does it take for this to occur?
Yes, they'll be posted out to you, and they get posted out by our graduation department. Now, how long this takes, it really does depend where you are in the world. I mean, of course, we will post them out as soon as possible at the point of graduation, but also one of the key things that slows this process down is that we don't always have the most up-to-date records of our students' home addresses, particularly because we have students who do move around the world with their jobs, which is great, but you do need to keep us informed of where you're moving to, because that is one of the biggest hurdles for slowing down when you receive your certificate.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that you have mentioned that it is not a teaching qualification. However, can you confirm if this is internationally recognized? I am planning of immigrating to Canada.
Yes, it's a master's level degree. It's a Master in Education, which is an internationally recognised qualification. We have students all over the world, including Canada, who have undertaken and are continuing to undertake this qualification. So I can categorically say that it is an internationally recognised qualification indeed.
Okay, I have got many years of working experience. I'm currently a school principal. Unfortunately, I do not hold a degree, but I do hold other professional qualifications within the educational industry. Will I be able to get into this program?
Unfortunately not. You do need to have a degree level education or equivalent. So I would suggest that you do contact the team at Stafford to see if there's any form of top-up available to anything that you've already obtained. Don't stop here, don't give up just now, just see what else can be done in the meantime.
Absolutely, yes. Do get in touch with your academic consultant and we'll be able to advise you. Again, very important that we see that CV as well as your professional qualifications that you have completed. Okay, and sorry, I'm just quickly trying to get through these. They actually look very similar. Oh, here we go. If I do exit from a postgraduate certificate and I then want to continue onto the diploma, how do I go about doing that?
Well, you let us know that you wish to return to us, and by the way, you have 5 years to return to us between if you do exit with a certificate and then wish to return, you have 5 years to do so. Some students wish to do that straight away because they've applied for the postgraduate certificate because they don't feel quite confident enough to undertake the full MEd, but then realise that as they're working through those first 2 modules, actually they do want to continue, which is great. And you just let us know and we will make those changes to your records. We'll of course speak with the team at Stafford, and between us we will extend your study period. If you have exited the programme with a postgraduate certificate, then registry will ask you to return that certificate to us so you can then continue your studies, just so you don't get the double certificates and double credits.
Okay, and this is a very interesting question. Why does this particular master's program not have examinations? I would assume that being from an educational industry, that there would be at least 1 or 2 exams, even if they had to be online.
No, a lot of masters, particularly if it's a professional development program, the way that ours are run across different universities don't include examinations. So mine certainly did it through a different institution. So I think it's quite common across masters in educations across different institutions around the world that examinations aren't included. We're going to a slightly different level here of qualification. And I can say the same really for doctoral studies, you know, and that's the next level up. There are no examinations as such in the same way as you get in the undergraduate degree.
And do you accept any exemptions? How can I go about doing this?
We do. We offer up to 90% credit exemption. Sorry, not 90, 50%, which is 90 credits. I'll get that right. So if you think that the full EMED is 180 credits, and we can offer maximum of 50% of that, so 90 credits. So if you are undertaking just a postgraduate certificate, for example, then the maximum that you could obtain there is the 30 credits. So yes, we do accept any applications for credit exemptions, but there is a caveat there. It does need to be at master's level, your previous learning, and also undertaken within the last 5 years. And again, please do send in the relevant documentation, such as your transcripts, for us to be able to make that judgment as to whether we can offer you credit exemption or not.
Absolutely, and Marie has actually touched on something very important. I know that, and we are aware that we've had quite a few students that have completed a postgraduate certificate at other institutions, I think 6 or 7 years ago, and I know that you've obviously put it into practice and you're probably doing it every day, but unfortunately it is an academic requirement that you have had to complete your qualification in the past 5 years. Okay, so again, do get in touch with me or your academic consultant. We'll be able to evaluate you know, your postgraduate certificate or whatever qualification you have done on a master's level, and we'll be able to advise you if you will or will not be able to get credits. If you are going to, oh, sorry, Maria.
No, sorry.
If you are going to submit any documentation for the credits, it's important to also try and give us any learning outcomes. It's very important for Maria and her team, because in that way they'll be able to map it against their current modules and see if the learning outcomes have been met. Okay. Sorry.
Okay, Helen, if I can just add on there about the IB as well, because some students may be seeking credit exemption but also want to undertake the IB Leadership Practice Award. Unfortunately, those two don't work together. So again, you know, speak to the team at Stafford. So once you've identified the route through that you wish to take, then you can have that conversation about potential credit exemption.
Absolutely. Good. And a very popular question that we always get is, do I have to be teaching in an RB school to actually do an RB certification? Because I would like to gain this extra certification.
Not at all. So we do have a pathway through, but it's the leadership pathway. But you don't have to be formal leaders. We're all leaders of some form, whether that's at home, whether that's in your jobs, you know, whether you're in a classroom. If you're teaching in a classroom, you are a leader. So do bear that in mind, because I know sometimes the title, people tend to think, oh, I'm not a leader in my job as a formal leader. I can't undertake that. Or I don't want to be a formal leader, so I don't want to undertake that. It goes beyond that. It's much broader when we use the term leadership there. So yes, you can use that. There is the IB Leadership in Practice Award that you can undertake without having the IB teaching experience. And once you've obtained that, if you are to continue to do the full EMET, then you can also work towards the Advanced Leadership Award. But as I say, that term leadership, it goes beyond that formal leadership role that we often think of when we use that term.
Yeah, and that actually brings me to another question here as well, is I have been teaching for over 15 years. I'm now getting a little tired of that, okay, and I do want to actually go into more of a management role. Do you think that this program will be able to give me the skills to become a vice principal or school principal?
Yes, and the reason why I say yes so confidently is because we've had students who have done precisely that. They're looking for, they've looked for that challenge, and I think that's perhaps what you mean by being tired of what you're previously doing. You're looking for that next challenge. And certainly this will enable you to do that, particularly if you take the leadership route through. Now, it's not going to be prescriptive to say you need to do this, that and the other, because that's not what the leadership is about. And as you'll learn, context and situations and everything else will have an impact on that. But certainly you'll have a good grounding of leadership and management and all the different features that comes along with that.
I know you have mentioned that this does not qualify me as a teacher because it's not a teaching qualification. However, can I use this program to obtain some form of teaching qualification? Can you enlighten us on that?
That's a difficult one to do at this moment in time because, as I mentioned previously, around the world there's so many different requirements, depending on where you are currently or where you want to head towards. So that's something that you'll need to think about. Do you want to stay in the region that you're currently residing in? In the future, you're thinking about traveling around the world. So these are all things that you would need to think about. And certainly we would help you to try and look at some of those options as you've got a better understanding. But as I often say to students when they're asking about this, you need to do some research yourself for the countries that you're interested in. As we know, as much as at times the world is a very small place, it's also a very big place when it comes to education and the number of different requirements that's needed.
Absolutely, absolutely. Remember, the rules and regulations from the various entities, governmental entities, do tend to change. So do get in touch with your local ministries, education ministries, so that you can actually see what the requirements are. Okay. And I think one last question, because I managed to actually group all these together. How do the tutors actually communicate with us via your online platform? Do I have to go in every day, or how flexible is that?
Well, we do encourage you to try and go into the online platform as much as possible, but we do have a variety of mechanisms to communicate with you, depending on what's being communicated. So yes, we do use the online platforms, but we'll communicate also by email. We also use Microsoft Teams, so we'll encourage you to set that up, which then that can be quite responsive, not just between yourself and the tutors, but between each other as students as well. Almost similar to, I suppose, a WhatsApp feature, a WhatsApp group there. And also then we, many of us, if not all of us as tutors, will hold drop-in sessions at various points in the semester. So it will be dropping into an online space where you can come in, just even if it's just a quick question that you want to ask and disappear off, that's fine. Other students will have a question, or maybe they just want to come in and listen to the questions that the rest of their group have and the responses to them. So that's a very flexible space, but it is an online space similar to what we're in now.
Good, fantastic. Right, so I have managed to group all the questions together. Again, thank you very much. They were very, very interesting questions this evening. And as Dr. Marie has said, we are nearing our application deadline, around about the 13th of October. I do encourage you to get in touch with us very quickly so that we can assist you to get those application documents into the university and get that very important unconditional offer for you. Okay. Again, thank you so much, Marie. Wonderful seeing you again. And thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening. Good night to you all.
Good night. Thanks, Helen. Thank you, everybody.